Ladies and gentlemen, before you close your eyes tonight, pause for a moment, because the difference between a restless night and a peaceful one, between fear and faith, may be just one prayer away. Prayer is your nightly shield because it stands between you and everything that seeks to steal your peace. When the day ends, as the world grows quiet and the lights go out, your mind often begins to replay the noise of the day. Worries, mistakes, fears, and uncertainties. In that vulnerable hour when your heart is exposed and your thoughts wander freely, prayer becomes the invisible armor that guards your spirit. It is more than just words whispered into the darkness. It is an act of surrender that builds a wall of divine protection around you. When you kneel before sleep, you are acknowledging that the day is over, but God's presence is not. You invite His power to surround your heart, His angels to encamp around your home, and His peace to flow through your body and soul. In those quiet moments before sleep, the enemy often tries to plant seeds of fear, doubt, and anxiety. But when you pray, you silence those whispers. You remind your spirit that you are not alone in the night. You are covered by a presence that neither slumbers nor sleeps. The same God who guided you through the day now stands watch through the night. Your prayer becomes the line that darkness cannot cross, the flame that keeps the shadows away. Every word of faith you speak builds a shield stronger than steel, forged not by human strength, but by trust in divine protection. This shield of prayer does not only protect you from visible dangers, it guards your mind from invisible battles. The heaviness of stress, the weight of guilt, the echo of past pain, all lose their power when lifted up to God in prayer. In that sacred exchange, you release your burdens and receive His peace. Your heart slows, your breathing softens, and your thoughts find stillness. You are no longer fighting the night alone. Heaven itself is standing guard. Prayer transforms your bed into an altar and your room into a sanctuary. It reminds you that no matter how uncertain the world feels, you rest under the wings of divine safety. Prayer as a nightly shield also prepares your spirit for what lies ahead. It strengthens your inner being so that when the morning comes, you rise not weary, but renewed. It cleanses your heart of bitterness, resets your mind with hope, and fills your soul with light. In that stillness, before you drift into sleep, something powerful happens. Your fears bow to faith, your confusion bows to peace, and your weakness bows to God's strength. The night, instead of being a time of vulnerability, becomes a time of restoration because you are covered by the shield of prayer. It is not the length of your prayer that gives it power, but the faith within it. Even a few sincere words, whispered from a trusting heart, build a fortress no darkness can penetrate. Prayer is your nightly shield because through it you rest not in uncertainty, but in divine assurance that you are safely held, fully known, and deeply loved. God works while you rest because His power is not limited by your strength or your wakefulness. When the noise of the world fades and you lay down your burdens, God continues the work that you cannot see. The human heart often believes that control brings safety, that effort brings results. But in truth, some battles can only be won when you step aside and allow divine hands to move. Rest is not a sign of weakness. It is an act of faith. It is the moment you say, God, I have done all I can today. Now, I trust you with what remains. That surrender invites heaven to intervene where your human ability ends. As you sleep, the same God who created the universe continues to orchestrate the details of your life. He mends what was broken during the day, opens doors that were closed, and softens hearts that were once hard. While you are still, He is arranging circumstances, protecting you from unseen dangers and aligning your path with His divine plan. You may close your eyes unaware of all that He is doing, but heaven does not sleep. The Creator who designed the stars does not rest when you do. His eyes are always upon you, watching, guiding, and working behind the scenes in ways you cannot comprehend. There are moments when you feel as though nothing is changing, when prayers seem unanswered and progress feels delayed. Yet even in that silence, God is active. Just as a seed grows quietly beneath the soil, His work unfolds in secret. You cannot see the roots forming, but they are strengthening beneath the surface. When you rest, you give God space to do what only He can do. Heal, restore, provide, and prepare. Your stillness becomes the soil where His miracles take root. Faith is not always about movement. Sometimes it is about stillness and trust. When you refuse to rest, when you insist on carrying the weight of every problem, you unknowingly block the flow of divine intervention. Resting in God does not mean giving up. It means giving over. It is handing Him your exhaustion, your uncertainty, and your plans, believing that His ways are higher. As your body rests, your spirit remains connected to the One who never stops working. He whispers peace into your subconscious, renews your strength, and fills you with hope for the coming day. Even when darkness covers the night and everything seems still, God is moving. He is preparing answers to prayers you have not yet spoken, orchestrating divine connections and writing new beginnings into your story. Every moment of rest is an invitation for Him to move freely without the interference of your worry or fear. You may fall asleep feeling weary, but you wake up refreshed, not only because your body has rested, but because your soul has been tended by the One who works while you rest. Heaven watches over you because you are never forgotten, not even for a single moment. When the world grows silent and you lay your head to rest, the eyes of heaven remain fixed upon you with love and protection. You may close your eyes in sleep, but divine guardians stay awake, standing watch like sentinels of peace around your life. There is a comfort in knowing that even when you cannot see or feel it, a higher presence surrounds you, guiding, shielding, and keeping you safe from harm. This truth brings rest to the weary heart and courage to the fearful soul. Heaven's watch is not distant or indifferent. It is intimate and constant. It is the Father's love that never leaves, the angel's wings that cover you in the unseen realm. You are protected not because of your power, but because of His promise. Each night, heaven's eyes scan over your home, your family, your dreams, and your future. When danger lurks in darkness, divine light stands guard. When fear whispers to your heart, peace from above silences its voice. You rest, not because the night is harmless, but because the One who guards you is greater than anything that moves in the shadows. There are battles fought in the unseen world that you will never know about, because heaven fought them for you. You wake up each morning not realizing how many arrows of harm were turned away, how many storms were stilled, how many dangers were stopped by divine intervention. Heaven's protection is not always visible, but it is always real. It works silently, faithfully, and powerfully. The prayers you whisper before sleep are heard instantly, and heaven responds by surrounding you with unseen armies of light. The peace that settles over you as you drift into sleep is evidence that the hand of God is upon you. When you believe that heaven watches over you, fear loses its grip. You no longer face the night with worry, but with calm assurance. Even in your deepest sleep, your soul remains secure, because the one who created you neither slumbers nor forgets. He is aware of every heartbeat, every breath, and every unspoken thought. His presence fills your room. His peace guards your mind, and his angels stand watch until morning light. The knowledge that heaven watches over you also strengthens your faith. For the days ahead, you begin to see life differently. Not as a series of random events, but as a carefully protected journey. You walk through challenges knowing you are not alone, and you face darkness knowing that light has already gone before you. Heaven's watch is eternal, gentle, and sure. It is the reason you can close your eyes without fear, knowing that through every hour of the night, the love of God remains awake, constant, and unshakable. Prayer turns fear into faith because it shifts the focus of your heart from what threatens you to the one who protects you. Fear thrives in silence and isolation. It grows when you carry the weight of uncertainty alone. But the moment you begin to pray, something powerful happens. You open your heart to God, and in doing so, you exchange anxiety for assurance. Prayer becomes the bridge between panic and peace. It does not always change the situation instantly, but it changes through you. It strengthens your inner spirit and fills the emptiness that fear creates with the presence of divine confidence. Fear whispers, "What if everything goes wrong?" But prayer answers, "What if God is already making it right?" The very act of speaking to God breaks the hold of fear, because fear cannot coexist with faith-filled words. Each prayer spoken from the heart reminds you that you are not facing life alone. Prayer redirects your thoughts from the unknown to the unchanging truth that God is in control. It reminds you that the one who holds the universe also holds your future, and nothing can happen outside his will. When fear enters your heart, it clouds your vision, making problems appear larger than they are. But prayer clears that fog. It restores clarity and calmness, not because you ignore reality, but because you see reality through the lens of faith. You realize that your strength does not come from what you can do, but from what God can do through you. In moments of fear, you often feel powerless, but when you pray, you connect with limitless power. That divine connection infuses courage into your soul. Prayer becomes a weapon, not of escape, but of transformation, turning trembling into trust and worry into worship. Every time you choose prayer over panic, you are training your spirit to lean on faith rather than feelings. You may still feel fear knocking at your door, but faith answers before it can enter. Prayer fills your heart with peace that fear cannot steal, because true peace is not the absence of problems, but the presence of God. When you talk to Him, you are reminded of His promises of protection, provision, and purpose. And those promises silence the lies of fear. Over time, prayer reshapes the way you respond to challenges. Instead of reacting with dread, you begin to respond with faith. You start believing that what seems impossible can be turned into a testimony. The same situations that once terrified you become opportunities to witness God's power. Prayer transforms the energy of fear into fuel for faith. It replaces trembling with trust, despair with hope, and weakness with strength. Fear loses its grip not because it disappears, but because your faith grows stronger than it. When you pray, your heart stops bowing to fear and begins to rise in faith, knowing that the one who hears you is greater than anything you face. A praying night leads to a peaceful morning because what you give to God before you sleep determines what fills your heart when you wake. When you end your day in prayer, you release every worry, regret, and fear into the hands of the one who can carry them better than you ever could. The weight that presses on your mind begins to lift, and peace slowly replaces the tension that tried to follow you into the night. Prayer becomes the gentle bridge between the chaos of the day and the calm of the morning. It tells your heart that even if the world is uncertain, God remains steady. When your last thoughts before sleep are filled with faith instead of fear, you invite heaven's peace to guard your rest and prepare your soul for a new beginning at dawn. A day filled with noise, conflict, and confusion often leaves your spirit restless. But prayer resets your inner world. It aligns your heart with divine order and allows your mind to breathe again. When you kneel or whisper a quiet prayer before bed, you are saying to God, I trust you more than my worries. That act of surrender turns your bed into a sanctuary where peace begins to grow. Sleep becomes deeper because your spirit is not wrestling with anxiety. In that calm state, God works on your behalf, restoring your strength, healing your mind, and renewing your hope. By morning, you rise refreshed, not only physically, but spiritually, ready to face the day with confidence and clarity. Prayer at night has the power to clear the emotional clutter of the day. Every disappointment, every harsh word, every silent fear loses its hold when you place it before God. As you rest, your heart begins to absorb His peace, and your soul learns to trust that tomorrow is already in His hands. That's why those who pray before sleep wake up lighter. The burden of yesterday does not follow them into today. The night becomes a sacred pause where faith breathes again and peace flows into every corner of the heart. When morning comes, the difference is felt deeply. You open your eyes not with heaviness, but with quiet joy. The worries that seemed so loud the night before are replaced with gratitude and calm. Prayer plants seeds of faith during the night, and by morning those seeds bloom into peace. The way you end your day shapes the way you begin the next one. A night surrendered in prayer produces a morning filled with divine energy and strength. It is a spiritual rhythm that keeps your soul centered, your mind clear, and your heart steady. Those who pray before sleeping learn that peace is not found in perfect circumstances, but in a perfect trust. Even when life is uncertain, prayer gives you the assurance that you can rest safely in God's hands. And when the morning light appears, your heart will be ready to face it with calmness, hope, and renewed faith. Prayer opens heaven's gate because it connects the limited heart of humanity with the limitless power of God. When you pray, you are not simply speaking into the air, you are unlocking a divine doorway where the Creator listens, responds, and moves. Every sincere prayer rises like a key turning in the lock of heaven's gate, granting access to blessings, strength, peace, and divine wisdom that cannot be gained through effort alone. Prayer is not just communication, it is communion. It brings your spirit into alignment with the will of God and allows heaven's resources to flow into your life. The moment you begin to pray with faith, you activate the spiritual law that invites heaven to intervene on earth. There are many gates in life, gates of opportunity, gates of protection, gates of provision. But none are as powerful as the gate of heaven. It is through this gate that the impossible becomes possible. When you pray, you are not begging, you are exercising the right of a child speaking to their fair father. You are declaring your dependence on His strength and your trust in His promises. Prayer does not force heaven to act. It invites heaven to move according to divine timing. It changes your position from standing outside in fear to stepping inside in faith. That invisible gate swings open, not because of perfect words, but because of a sincere heart. Through prayer, heaven's presence descends into your ordinary moments. You begin to see situations shift, hearts soften, and peace replace chaos. The things that seemed immovable start to move because heaven has been invited in. When you pray, angels are dispatched, favor is released, and unseen forces begin to align for your good. Every answered prayer is proof that the heaven's gate is not locked to those who seek God with faith. Even when the answer delays, the gate remains open, and God continues to pour strength, guidance, and patience into your soul. Prayer opens heaven's gate not only for requests, but also for relationship. It draws you closer to the heart of God, where fear fades and love takes over. The more you pray, the wider that gate feels, because prayer shifts the atmosphere within you as much as around you. It allows divine light to flood your thoughts, replacing doubt with clarity and despair with hope. Heaven's gate is not a distant, unreachable realm. It opens every time a believer whispers, "Father, I need you." That whisper carries authority, because prayer bridges the gap between human weakness and divine power. When you understand that prayer opens heaven's gate, you stop treating it as a last resort and start embracing it as your greatest privilege. Each time you pray, you are stepping into the presence of the Almighty, entering a place where miracles are born and peace is renewed. Heaven is never far. It only waits for the sound of a faithful heart to call,